code, so I would like to call this regular meeting to order. Please join me with allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B, recording the roll.
All present except for Commissioner Tower.
We excused him, I believe, the last meeting.
He requested a
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we excuse Commissioner Tower.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Simmons to excuse Commissioner Tower for tonight's meeting. Is there any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, approval of the consent agenda. Are there any changes we need to be aware of?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Simmons to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item D, we are to,
Will be.
so remove item D from tonight's agenda. Item E, approval of the monthly check register report.
Item B will be at the next meeting. Wasn't able to pull together April financials for this meeting, put them in the proper format. But I am here to answer any questions on the check register if there are any.
Commissioners, any questions or comments on the check register report? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the monthly check register report.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Sim to approve the monthly check register report. Are there any further discussions, concerns, questions on this item? Roll call.
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item F, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes we need to be aware of? Looks like we have to remove item O. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Kaya to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item G, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are on the agenda, and a 3-minute limit, please. This is on the agenda. A little bit of a format change.
Smallers officer chair, I think I'm doing this right, it's Ann like Nancy, discuss and consider a potential millage vote to fund local street improvements. That means you want to raise more taxes. That's wrong. People can't afford to live in their houses right now. The average person is paying $200 a month just in water bills and taxes. There's people paying that. There's people that pay more than that. Everybody and their brother is on this tax roll. You need to cut and cut in this building. You can cut and you can pay for your projects. You do not have to go to the taxpayer asking for more money because the taxpayer does not have it. Go to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store, you're paying $4 for a gallon of milk. You cannot ask the taxpayer for more money. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? These are items that are on the agenda. Okay. Item H, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. And just as a reminder, to be respectful, this is not a point where you have personal attacks, observe the time limits, and the commission is not obligated to respond. If you have something that includes a lot of detail for an answer, we suggest that you set up a meeting. So that being said, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda, 3-minute limit, please. Now would be your opportunity.
Yeah, Paul Boston's called back. The cemetery looked beautiful for this Memorial Day. The guys did a very, very, very nice job. It really was something to be proud of. It was really nice. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
And Mayor, I also have a letter to be read
Okay.
that Louise DeMasi asked that she's not able to attend meetings, so she'd like to address the city commission in a letter. I believe you have it in front of you too.
Okay.
Dear Scott and Bob, normally you hear from me when I have a complaint, and I know that at times I can be a bit harsh. Tonight, however, I want to let you know what a fine job the city did on preparing the cemetery for Memorial Day. The grass was mowed and trimmed, and the leftover debris from winter cleaned up. I know this was a team effort between the city workers assigned to the cemetery and the city workers who helped out Friday morning. I would like also to thank those union employees who volunteered to work without pay if the cemetery was not ready by Friday at noon. Also, Sari's lawn mowing service and all other young people who helped deserve our appreciation and thanks. I talked to numerous residents and visitors in the cemetery on Saturday and Sunday, and all expressed their appreciation at how the cemetery looked, and for those who worked to get it that way. Thanks, Scott and Bob, for keeping your word. Louise DeMasi and a number of residents.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda?
Bill Martell, 647 Huron Street. I'm still here addressing what you plan on doing with the Little League Park over there that you've been avoiding since 2010. Last year I helped them throw dirt and topsoil down on the outfield and the new field. And this year you put the road there from more or less McLeod. So I want to know what this city plans to do with this year, meaning before June 30th, the end of this budget. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, that takes us to new business. Item I, discuss and consider authorizing advertising to bid to repair the outer wall of the Pat O'Donnell Civic Center resulting from snow damage.
We just give you a little background on this. We do have Ryan Ream here to talk on this also. With the large roof at the Civic Center, the snow comes off that roof and hits the bank. It pushes up against the outside wall, which essentially dents or crushes that outside wall. It's been an ongoing challenge over the last few years. Probably within the last 4 or 5 years, that wall wasn't replaced. Again, it is covered by insurance. And unfortunately, now after it was replaced, it happened again. So with this, if you authorize us going out for bids, we go out for bids to get those walls repaired. I'll bring that back to the commission for consideration. And also, the funding for this would be through insurance. Brian, anything else to add on it?
That covers it. I'll make a motion, we authorize advertising to bid to repair the wall of the Civic Center as described in item I.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer, to authorize advertisement to bid as noted in item I. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, discuss and consider approving an application for a special one-day liquor license for the cage fight on July 18, 2014 at the Pat O'Donnell Civic Center.
Touching that, Brian, in the background.
We didn't have it last year because of the floor project, but this year we would like to have the cage fighting again, and a lot of the profit goes by selling beer at the end, and people suggested. So this is, we've done this basically before. So
And the city is the applicant.
the city did not.
So all we have to do is approve the application for the liquor license by motion.
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for the liquor license as described in item J.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Semi to approve the application for a special one-day liquor license as described in item J. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item K, discuss and consider authorizing advertising to bid for a lighting replacement project for the Pat O'Donnell Civic Center.
You guys got the letter and the information to get a chance to read it over what the savings are. The Civic Center Board approved moving forward with this lighting project, and it's a go green. There's rebates, and your annual savings are just tremendous. The payoff is 4 years just for the buying the lights. Basically, the lights we have in the rink area now are $39 a bulb, and they put off a big amount of heat. So I see it, we're wasting energy. We can't put all the lights on most of the time because they create so much heat. We do have money available from the Stevens donation, that this would be more of a investment into going green and saving money in the long run.
Are there any limits on the Stevens donation, or was it specifically for the Zamboni meeting?
Limited for any excess aside from Zamboni was limited to capital improvements to the civic center.
Thank you.
Does this mean it's gonna be colder in there now?
Not gonna address more.
Can't. I'll make a motion to approve an advertisement to bid for a lighting replacement project.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Sims, second by Commissioner Semo to authorize advertisement to bid as noted in item K. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item L, discuss and consider authorizing Mayor Kim Corcoran as environmental review certifying officer for the 2014 CDBG policy grant.
Thank you. This is just a formality. The mayor has always been the authorizing agent for the housing rehab grants. So if you have any questions, I can answer those at this time.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the mayor to be the environmental review certifying officer as described in item L.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Care, to authorize Mayor Kim Corcoran as environmental review certifying officer as noted in item L. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item M, discuss and consider advertisement to bid Full World Meats kitchen equipment.
Again, we're going out for asking you to go out to bid for the overall piece of equipment. We're down to no minimum asking price. We've gone through the steps that we've done with Entree Companions, so this presumably will be our last bid.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the advertisement described in item M.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Care to approve advertisement to bid for Full World Meats as described in item M. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item N, discuss and consider a potential millage vote to fund local street improvements.
Again, the city commission has identified as one of the top priorities the streets within the city of Ironwood, and that's been ongoing for the last 8 or 10 years. It's been a very high priority. We've made good progress in that arena, getting some of our streets back into reasonable shape. We're not there yet. We still have a big push ahead of us. You've done a good job in putting the dollars that we've been able to squeeze out of the budget into local streets. I'll say it was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, the local street budget was zero. Now we're just going through our budget. We have about $310,000 in the budget to work on local streets. So you made great strides in getting some money in the budget and being very fiscally responsible that way. With that said, we have 66 miles of street to maintain. Again, the street system is put in place for a much larger population. We're trying to maintain it as best we can with the population that we have. The $310,000 is a good chunk of money to get some projects done. It's not enough to get us to a point where our streets are in what we call acceptable shape, where they're all in fairly good shape. With that, you have to look at what are your funding options. The state does not pay for local streets. We get some money from the state through our Act 51 money, which essentially helps for maintenance. It almost predominantly goes to snow removal, and that's a big part of our budget. And so where does the money go for streets? Snow removal. It's huge. It takes up a substantial part of the street budget. So with that, what other funding sources do you have? You have a local millage that can be considered. We did discuss that last year, and the difference with this year is that the Memorial Building millage will fall off this year. So if you look at a time where, if you do go out and ask the public to see if they would want to support a millage, you can structure it such that it would not be an increase to their taxes, if you will, because the other one would be falling off. So just some food for thought. Again, with it, we had talked about, I think last year we went out for a 2 mil request, whether that would be something you want to consider or some variation to that. Again, we need some direction from the commission if you'd like to proceed with that, and then we can bring back, if you would, language that could be looked at if you wanted the voters to take a vote on it.
I think that's a very important point, noting that the memorial building is dropping off, so there's not necessarily going to be an increase in the taxes to the people and basically all. If you can explain any more of that to detail, maybe tonight if you want to, if you feel comfortable. If not, maybe we can get you on the upcoming agenda.
Yeah, maybe just to touch on it a little bit more tonight, with it falling off, this is the last year of debt service, 2014, and that taxpayers will see a millage for the memorial building debt on their taxes. Next year, if there were no changes, that would drop off. That memorial building millage was, I think the range allowable was between $1.5 million and I think 3.5, 3.9, possibly. So it would depend on what the debt service was for a particular year, what that millage would be set at. So there's a couple options that the commission can go with, whether we specify a decibel that we service, which is largely driven by the taxable value. Otherwise, the commission can set a certain millage that they'd like to go after, which in that case, we would work to estimate the annual debt service conservatively, so the millage the 2 mills would cover the annual debt service each year. So that kind of covers
It does, and I believe the memorial building millage, again, it fluctuated every year, but it ranged from roughly 2 mils up to 3.2 mils. 3.3 mils over that period. So again, you just keep that variation.
So if we did eventually go out for like a potential millage vote, the cost of the taxpayers would not be anything substantial, if anything at all.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioners, any more questions for Paul since we have him up here? I know too, dealing with the comprehensive plan, just kind of calling on my experts here. Mike, with the comprehensive plan that we have done with a survey, do you know what the percent of the people surveyed indicated that they would like better roads?
I don't recall the amount, but it ranked high on the list. Infrastructure issues was top 3 in the list of issues and concerns and desires that people want. So it's through the surveys and through the public input process, streets, roads, water, and sewer, those issues ranked high as far as things that need to be addressed.
I think it was actually at the top of the list.
There were, depending on which question you look at in the survey responses, it was either 1 or 2 or 3, depending on which question. It hit multiple questions, so it listed high in multiple areas.
Well, you know, we got some very interesting information in our budgeting session that we had just before this meeting. And our 66 miles of streets, the city has been able to pave 27 miles of those in the last 7 years. And I like to salute the city staff for achieving this. I think it's very noteworthy. In my whole life, I've never seen work going on like there is now. But that being said, you know, a lot of things fell into place for us for that to happen with the American Recovery Act, the stimulus money that helped us do a lot of this. And I think the math would show that in our normal budgeting cycle, we are not ever going to be able, we can't keep up with the roads. I mean, that's what I come up with out of this in general. And if anybody ever wants to ask me about it, I will show them the numbers. And I think that we have to ask for it. It's just that simple for me.
Well, I think I failed in a slight margin last year, and I'm feeling quite confident after we have the survey with the comprehensive plan, and given the fact that the memorial building, debt service will fall, I think that now would be a good time to ask the people one more time, and if it doesn't pass, then we're stuck with what we have.
Right.
That's my thoughts on it. It's just bring it to the people and
And if the commission does vote to go to the voters, we would again hold informational sessions and have some informational material to provide to the taxpayers to show them where they can find their taxable value of their property on a sheet and follow it across to see what it's going to cost them on an annual basis.
And at that time too, we could also have like a game plan of which roads would be addressed with, so people would know what's going to be done.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, the voters are safe, and that's fine. It's up to the voters. I would support it.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we direct city staff to move forward in drafting language for red ballot to establish a village for street improvements.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Mayor Corcoran, to advise city staff to move forward with the language for a potential millage vote to fund local street improvements. Any further discussion or concerns on this?
Well, I will jump in. I've been dreading speaking about this at all. After really thinking about it, I'm just not sure that I'm okay, even under the theory that the memorial building is going to drop off. I still think that the voters agreed to the memorial building. It's time to sort of bring the tax rate down just a bit and give it some relief. This is one of those opportunities where we can do it, and I understand the theory of letting the taxpayers decide, but they also decided to put us up here, so that's my...
Any other discussion?
It's just a quick question from staff. If the commission would go for the millage, would we need direction on to whether to go for a flat millage or fluctuating?
We would, if you're ready,
Maybe at this point,
maybe
maybe
address
bring back
that,
some
otherwise we
options.
bring it back with a couple options for you.
Maybe what some dollar amounts would look like in some different villages.
I believe coming back with language is
Are you asking me to amend my motion?
Well, if you want to put specifics to it, otherwise we'll bring, if you just direct us to bring back some items, we'll bring back a couple different options to consider, or different ways to structure that.
I'm comfortable with where it is, and we can always move forward from there.
any further discussion? Well, I have a motion by Commissioner Semo and then second by Mayor Corcoran to authorize staff to move forward with potential language or language with the potential village vote to fund local street projects. Can I do a roll call?
Sim,
No.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes,
Corcoran.
Yes. Okay, remove item O. Item B, discuss and consider request from Minnie Piper for a release from her city center lease.
Meeting is one of the tenants down in the city center. She has some health issues that have come up. She has to be released from her contract with the city to be effective at the end of May of this year, 2014. The DAP board did review this and they did recommend release of her from her contract with the city.
I'd like to make a motion to grant Mimi Pfeiffer's request as described in the
Second.
Do you need a effective date?
And if you could, effective at the end of the month, she's taking
effective at the end of this month, this May, effective at the end of May.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Taylor to approve the request from Minnie Piper for a release from the city center lease effective at the end of May. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
How much longer until we're out from this sort of lease agreement deal?
Sure, good question. There is a agreement that's been drafted between the city and the DAP, the Cars Place folks, and you've actually reviewed that. I went back to that, they reviewed it, had some changes to it. We've gone through those with the city attorney, and we expect we'll be bringing that agreement back to you the first meeting in June. Yes. So hopefully after that, we go in by July 1st, we have transferred over all the operational responsibilities to the DAP board.
The DAP board did approve the lease today at the meeting, so they're in agreement with that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Semo and second by Commissioner Taylor for item P to release Amy Pfeiffer from her city center lease. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item Q, manager's report.
Just a few items to touch on. There's a lot going on. I'll just kind of highlight some of the larger efforts that are underway. Today, as everybody probably is aware, the US 2 detour has been officially put in place. So you'll see the traffic detour now on Powell Avenue and over to Lake. Again, there's going to be a learning curve. People get used to the driving patterns, and those are changing and have changed. So again, we want to caution everybody just to be careful in that area and kind of learn where the differences are. Essentially, it's the Lowell Street and Suffolk Street intersections where those are now a through intersection. The side streets are stopped. So again, just to make people aware of that. The contractor has also, and will be starting their excavation work now that the detours allow him to get in and they shut down US 2 in a fashion that he can start now doing pavement removal and then I'll start with his utility work.
Scott, I have a question about those two intersections that are changed. Is there any possibility of getting temporary yellow and red flashers, facing the two directions?
I'm trying to Andrews get some thought on you're talking as you're driving on McLeod.
As you're closely on McLeod, if you see the yellow flasher, then that should kind of wake you up to the fact that this is different.
I think it'd be even more important for the red stop signs that go by where the fabric patch or whatever on the corner where the newspaper is. Like there's just one orange sign there, and not that people would run it because that stop sign's been there a while, but if someone does run it there, it's going to be big trouble.
There is an orange sign and also there is a sign below the stop sign, so there are two.
Okay, well, like the orange sign, like as you're coming out, it gets like blocked by a tree or something.
And we did see that today, we're gonna trim that back.
Awesome.
And we will talk to the DOT about any more advanced warning signs that can be put in place. Because it is, the first 2 weeks are always the biggest challenge, just to get people to become aware of the changes in driving patterns and awareness of the changes. But we will talk to the DOT regarding that. The City Commission did approve a while back a contract to remove fuel tanks at our Department of Public Works garage. That was completed last week. So the 3 10,000-gallon fuel tanks are removed, and they're doing the final restoration over in that area. So that went very well. So just to make you aware of that. We being the staff, the mayor, city attorney, last week went to the bond closing for our Phase 3 project. And the closing went very smoothly, and that's a reflection of all the work that everybody did on this, the prep work, and there's a whole lot of behind-the-scenes work and documentation that had to be put in place. So again, the closing was completed, and that provides the funds now for our US 2 project for Phase 1 this year, and also for Phase 2 water and sewer work next year in 2015, and also the funding for a large neighborhood project that we're doing north of US 2 and between Lake and Bucksmore Street, that whole neighborhood. As you can see, the water and sewer work that Ritzland Construction has been awarded the contract on. So over the next 2 years, 2014 and 15, again, will be a significant amount of work going on in the city, in addition to other things that we'll be working on. And this Saturday, whoever might be available for a couple hours, there is the annual Make a Difference Day. We've done this every year for the last at least 7 years, where we meet down at the depot at 9 o'clock in the morning. And people will essentially walk. It's kind of a adopt road and adopt a park effort where people walk through town and just pick up any litter that's out there that's accumulated over the winter time. And it's had a significant impact on the city. In the past, we've gotten anywhere from 1 to 3 dump truck loads of just debris and refuse that gets collected over the winter time. So we want to invite anybody that's willing and able to come out, hopefully the weather cooperates, down at the Depot Park this Saturday at 9. And we also do a thank you of all brought and ship feed afterwards. So that's it for report.
Thank you. Item R, other matters, 3-minute limit. I have a couple items. There are a lot of things going on with the Little League field. The use of the field, there's a lot of donations happening with the field. It might be tied into our highway project. And I guess maybe we're not really clear of the scope of work. I'm just wondering if the commission would support if we had that, just kind of an update brought back to one of our meetings in the future, so we can just kind of get an idea and maybe share with people who are concerned about what's happening.
Sure.
have one other item. Recently in the news, the Supreme Court upholds prayer at public meetings. The mention of God in the Star Spangled Banner is a tribute to our soldiers. The pledge is in, has the word God in it, and prayer before meeting has been a tradition since the very first session of Congress. And prayer is more of a tradition to carry on, and it's kind of a call for a productive meeting. And just kind of given that the Supreme Court had ruled or upholds that prayer at public meetings is okay, I'd like to consider maybe adding it back onto our agenda. And just looking for a little input.
Would you want, we can add it as a discussion item at the next meeting if you would like to.
Let's do that. And that's all I have for our
I just had a question about phase 3. When is that going to start?
The neighborhood
Yeah.
project is under construction. They are looking at starting to do some prep work starting June 2nd. So next week, they'll start getting some of the temporary water systems put in place. You probably won't be seeing a whole lot of digging for probably a week after that. They'll start the prep work next week.
I have a question. Where the water on US 2, like where is that coming from, and what's up with it? All right.
Well, you're holding off so they could get fire shut down, so we wouldn't have to be in that chaotic traffic like we were down by Burger King. So they'll be starting on those 2 leaks probably tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll be done by Friday with them. Because we're not positive where they're coming, because that's such a long stretch here. It could be a service line, it could be a water main, but they'll be out there working on it. Right now we have between 5 and 7 graphs, I think it is. And Bob's looking into getting us a leak detection person so we get these done and accomplished before winter comes again in 2 weeks. So that's the story.
It's good to hear it's in single digits. Thank you for all of your work you guys have done this winter into the spring.
The winter is carried on a month longer than we thought, and yes, the guys and everyone just pulled it together really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other? Adjourned.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Shimo, second by Commissioner Sim to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?